It started like any other quiet morning. The sun rose, the roads were empty, and the air felt still. But by nightfall, an entire town was gone. Not destroyed. Not evacuated on record. Just gone. Houses stood open. Cars were parked neatly. Meals were left half a ton on tables, and not a single human being was found. What happened that day has never been officially explained, and the truth may be far darker than anyone admits. The town was small, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names. Generations lived on the same streets. Children rode bikes without fear. Nothing about it suggested danger. No headlines, no warnings, no alarms. That is what makes this story so disturbing. Because when authorities finally arrived, they weren't met with chaos. They were met with silence. Police reports described doors unlocked, lights still on, radios humming softly in empty living rooms. A dog was found tied outside a grocery store, dehydrated but alive, as if waiting for someone who never returned. A school classroom had backpacks under desks, coats hanging by the door. The clock on the wall had stopped at the exact same minute in multiple buildings. That detail would later haunt investigators. At first, officials assumed evacuation. A gas leak, a chemical spill. Something that forced people to leave quickly, but there was no sign of panic. No packed suitcases, no emergency notices. Bank accounts went untouched. Phone records showed no outgoing calls after a certain hour. It was as if time itself had snapped on the people, simply stepped out of existence. But what happened next shocked everyone. When journalists arrived, the story began to fracture. Different agencies gave different explanations. Some claimed the town was abandoned years ago, despite satellite images showing activity just days earlier. Others insisted the population numbers were exaggerated. Locals from nearby areas swore they had family there, people who now officially never existed. One woman drove to the edge of the town looking for her sister. She found her sister's car in the driveway, her purse inside, her phone on the kitchen counter. But her sister's name was no longer in any public record. Birth certificate gone. School records gone. It was as if the system itself had erased her. Every missing resident shared one detail in common. They had all attended a town meeting 3 nights before the disappearance. The agenda of that meeting was never released. The minutes were missing. The building where it took place showed signs of deep structural damages, if something powerful had occurred inside. Some officers refused to talk about what they saw. One resigned weeks later. Another transferred departments without explanation. A third reportedly said, "We're not looking for people anymore. We're looking for answers we're not supposed to find." Then came the audio recording. A damaged security tape from a nearby highway station captured something around 2:17 a.m. It wasn't clear at first, just static and a low, pulsing sound. When unsettling experts described it as a frequency too low to be human-made, yet too structured to be natural. After the sound, every vehicle, camera facing the town, went dark simultaneously. But what happened next shocked everyone even more. Thermal imaging from a military satellite never meant to be public showed a sudden heat bloom across the town. Not fire. Not explosion. A rapid spike and drop, like a breath being taken and released. Within seconds, every heat signature vanished. No bodies. No movement. Just empty structures cooling in the night. Theories flooded in mass hysteria. Secret government relocation. A classified experiment gone wrong. Some whispered about underground facilities. Others spoke of sinkholes, gases, or electromagnetic events. But none explained the lack of remains, or the erased identities, or why officials sealed the area within days, citing environmental instability without further comment. Residents from nearby towns began reporting strange effects, clocks stopping at the same time every night, animals refusing to cross certain roads, people dreaming of empty streets and calling out names that felt familiar but had no faces. Psychologists called it shared anxiety. Locals called it something else. They called it a warning. Years passed. The town was fenced off. Buildings slowly decayed. Nature crept in. But some things never changed. Streetlights still flicker at dusk. Radios still pick up static when tuned between stations. And if you stand there long enough, some say you can hear footsteps oft, measured, like people walking home. A former federal contractor eventually broke silence under anonymity. He claimed the town was part of a containment failure. Not an accident, but a test. Something involving sound, energy, and human perception. He said the people didn't die. They were displaced. When asked where, he paused and said, "Not somewhere we can reach." But what happened next shocked everyone who heard his final words. He warned that the event was not isolated, that similar conditions were being monitored elsewhere, that the town wasn't chosen randomly, it was prepared, and that the most disturbing part wasn't that people vanished, but that most of the country forgot them almost immediately. Today, if you search for the town, you'll find conflicting results. Some maps show it, others don't. Old photographs exist, but faces are blurred. Names are missing. The official story remains unfinished, carefully vague, and deeply unsatisfying. And maybe that's the point, because if an entire town can disappear without a clear explanation of, people can be erased, not just physically but historically, then the real question, what happened to them? The real question is this. If it happened once, how would we know if it happened again? Do you believe this was a natural disaster? A government secret? Or something we still don't understand? Comment with what you think really happened. And in the next video, we'll uncover a true story, where one man claims he came back from a place authorities insist does not exist, and the evidence he brought with him changes everything. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.